These are Tories. Or maybe they're not. They could be extrovert Remainers. What do you think? Should we road test it? Excuse me. Do you know how you'll vote?
Conservative.
Tell me why.
We need a majority. Ideally.
A majority for
Boris.
Boris. Do you know who you're going to vote for?
Not sure just yet, still making my mind up.
People often say, oh, of course, oh, how do you select the people that you talk to when you do vox pops? That's always an answer of sorts. As I suppose today we're looking for people who maybe outwardly you think were Conservative voters who voted Remain and therefore might be minded to do something different this time. Not having much success so far, I've got to be honest. They could be extrovert Remainers. Excuse me, how do you feel about the election? That's how you feel?
That's how I feel.
Okay.
I don't trust Boris, so I don't know what to think. And some of the ones that I might have trusted slightly more have been booted out anyway.
How have you voted in the past?
Tory or Lib Dem usually.
Did you vote Remain in the referendum?
I did.
What kind of country do you want to live in?
How much as I have voted Tory in the past, I'm saddened by the divide and, you know, the rise of food banks. It's all too easy to get there nowadays, and I think the divide's much bigger. I'd like to think we cared more and worked, but unfortunately all these things cost money, and people have got to be prepared to pay the extra money to pay for the things for that.
Thank you. That was a fascinating conversation. It was really great. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. That's the sort of person I'm interested in talking to. Political parties change, you know, it comes with costs. They risk losing people, and they've lost the Tories, which is really interesting. Guildford in Surrey was won by the Tories with a huge majority 2 years ago. But politics here is now a lot more complicated. I think from the outside, some people, probably including me, have this idea of Surrey being this very sort of affluent, leafy place. Brexit has exposed the growing gap between conservatism and places like this. Can I ask you a very, very quick question? How do you feel about the election?
Something's got to happen, or you just keep going round in circles.
So, to assist that process, who are you going to vote for?
Lib Dems.
Lib Dems.
And have you voted Lib Dem in the past?
Possibly, but recently it's more likely Conservatives.
I don't know whether you notice this. If you switch on the television and people like me are holding microphones at people in the street, they tend to be Leave voters.
Yeah.
And they tend to be angry.
Yeah.
But half the country voted Remain, and we don't often hear from them.
Yeah.
And that's you.
Well, I guess it's possibly because the edits by the editor is just put in the Leave interviews.
I'm the editor.
Oh, well done.
To be honest, and to have a bit of a mea culpa, we probably haven't come to places like Guildford nearly enough.
We're not angry, but we are a little bit sad.
Nearly half the people who voted Remain. And 3 years on, I want to hear from them as well. I'm glad I've come in. I mean, they were the reason we came to Guildford, let's be honest. I like the way she said, we're not angry, we're sad. There's one party making a strong pitch for these voters.
Good evening, sorry to intrude. My name's Zoe Franklin. I'm the Liberal Democrat parliamentary candidate in the general election. Just come around this evening to meet local residents and also ask the question how you might be voting. I've never canvassed with a torch before. Any particular issues that are going to kind of steer your decision?
I'll be voting tactically against the Tories.
We need a street light. We need a selfie, please. Okay.
Awesome. I mean, sight unseen, you would think this was the sort of place that if it wasn't voting Tory, the Tories are in trouble.
To be honest, the Lib Dems seem to be the only centrist party left.
Who have you voted for in the past?
Conservatives, mostly. Yeah.
You voted Remain, presumably, did you?
Yes. Thank you.
Do consider us, thank
This is really interesting.
What is it?
There's a bit of field work, yeah, it's fascinating.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm being totally sincere.
Yeah.
I'm an ex-Tory.
Are you?
Yes, always voted Tory. Parents had, grandparents had, and I was absolutely livid
What were you livid about?
that we were going to leave the EU. It's just an absolute catastrophe. I'm sure there's lots like me
No, I'm sure there
who are
are.
very angry.
We've become an angrier country, though, haven't we?
We have, unfortunately. It's ripping us apart, and it will go on for generations.
Things are changing, though, aren't they? I grew up in Tory suburbia, right? So I have all these preconceptions about it, I guess, that people are conservative and they wouldn't be interested in things like climate change. That's not true, You know, suburbia evolves as well.
This is the hell of a winter election, isn't it? You get up in the morning, your car's covered in ice. Look at it.
Winter election. We then go to Surrey University, half expecting to find young people who don't want Brexit and are open to the Lib Dems election message.
Excuse me, do you know where the student union is?
Things have changed, you see. I don't think I ever bought a single item of fruit or vegetables when I was a student. The world is better in many ways now, isn't it? It really is.
What's it like in Guildford?
It's different. Yeah, like when you come from London to here, it's quiet but it's nice.
What's your sort of emotional sense of where this country's going?
I think it's stuck. I'm not gonna lie. It's just in an endless cycle.
Do you know what the Conservatives stand for?
I don't know, but I just know they don't represent me. That's all I'm saying.
The whole debate about the EU should be sped up. Like, I don't see why it's taken us this long.
Just get it done. I thought you were the generation that was gonna, that A is opposed to it and B might save us from it, you know. Come on, they're snatching your future away.
They are, but I respect. They are.
They are snatching my future
But
away.
I respect what my country chose.
Do you know who you're not going to vote for?
The Lib Dems.
You're not going to vote Lib Dem?
Yeah.
Why not? Got straight there. What do you want to do when you leave?
I want to be a stockbroker.
Do you? You want to be a stockbroker? Why?
I like money. Don't blame me.
That's the best explanation anyone's ever given me. That's perfect. Well, we of all people should know this after 10 years of making these films. Politics now is not made up of these sort of monolithic blocks of people who behave exactly as you would expect. Don't stereotype people, you know, that applies just as much to students at Surrey University as it does to workington man. How on earth you make sense of it? You know, people have this idea like, oh, how are you going to call the election? How could you even begin to call this election? Forget it. What are you studying here?
I'm doing a PhD in quantum physics.
Are you? Wow.
Bloody hell.
How do you feel about the election?
The only people with an actual plan are Labour with the Green New Deal. Screw it. I like the whole thing about tactical voting. I can't give a toss anymore. Like, why not just do what you believe in and vote in what you believe in? I'm tired of like dishonesty and insincerity. We need to move beyond that. And honestly, it's at a stage where either the human race is gonna like topple into the flames of oblivion because we just can't pull our fingers out of our asses, or we're gonna do something about it and start being honest and start being constructive and say, you know what, climate change, it's a problem. Let's do something about it. Let's actually come together.
Do you want to carry on and I'll stand over there?
Yeah, let's go carry on. I think that the media think that there's some kind of narrative or they're desperately trying to create a story. Doing physics, I know that there's just chaos generally.
We've got to go up High Street and cross the river. It's over here somewhere. Right, we're going to meet the woman who, up until the election was announced, was the sitting MP for Guildford, and up until earlier this year was a Conservative MP. God, politics is complicated. She's one of the famous 21 MPs who wasn't having no deal, 3 of whom were Surrey MPs. And she's now contesting this election as an independent. And she's in the pub. I'm John Harris from The Guardian.
Hello, John Harris from The Guardian.
And Milton, independent candidate for Guildford. Is that still funny?
I think, am I really doing this?
And why are you doing it?
It would have been very easy to say, walk away, go and do something else with my life. But I thought, no, I'm going to fight this one. Obviously, you asked me for coffee.
Yeah, we'll get you a cup
You
of tea.
go home.
Like your dog.
You go to Mrs. If you get chucked out of a party, it's a bit like a divorce. You've been married to the same person for 20 years. You look back at the person you married and you think, you know what? All these things irritated me. All these things they did were bad. I will be honest, I feel really liberated. I can tell the truth. I will support any policies from any of the political parties that I think are sensible. I actually think the Labour Party, their attitude to how to fund social care, I think is entirely reasonable and probably the only option. I would love to win to prove to the political parties that they need to be very careful, because there is another route that people can take, and that is getting independent MPs. For all the political parties, they're so entrenched, but they've narrowed their boundaries.
Right, lovely. Thank you, Anne.
You all the best. Take care.
I don't have the same politics as Anne Milton, but she's sort of quite a flexible, open, interesting politician. She just says, well, I think the Labour Party's policy on social care is entirely right, you know. She's not a sort of doctrinaire, ideological person. She sort of reflects the complexities of the world, and there's not room for her in the modern Conservative Party. Brexit is an anti-modern revolt, essentially, isn't it? And places like this have got a lot more modern than they were 30 or 40 years ago.
Another change is occurring here. The fraying social fabric has led to a greater awareness of poverty and inequality.
So I've come to a sort, is the official term, of the North Guildford Food Bank.
One's conscious of the inequalities in society these days, and if you can do a little bit to make it better, you can. I don't know that this does very much, but it's a little bit.
And I think it's a direct help.
Yes.
Well, you'll notice as well, in line with our previous observation we made, that by and large, people trying to make a difference to this country at the grassroots are always women.
People from different social groupings come together. I think it brings it home in a way that just reading an article or something just, that seems theoretical, but when you meet real people who are struggling, yeah, it definitely brings it home.
Hello.
Yes, give that to Rosie, yeah.
Chia seeds.
Get all sorts of things at harvest time, all sorts of luxury things that people don't know what they are.
And initially I was quite poor, so I came here for the food. But because of my illness, I come here once or twice a week just to connect with people. And I've been coming here for a couple of years.
Right.
And it's built me up as a person.
Someone we spoke to yesterday, who was a volunteer here, said that one of the things that had been good for them in volunteering here was they'd met people from backgrounds and in circumstances that they wouldn't have met otherwise.
I'm aware of the give and take within it, and I benefit from it. And I think the people that come here get to see the other side almost.
That's your strange question. There's a general election in about a month's time. You're laughing. Do you know who you're going to vote for?
Yeah.
Go on.
No.
Do you know who you're not going to vote for?
Yeah.
Go on.
Lib Dems, Green, Labour. That only leaves the other two, isn't it?
Yeah, and why not them? Why not those three?
Because they're all against Brexit.
But why is Brexit important? Do you know what I mean? I sit here and...
It's been in the news for 3 years, so how can... get it done.
But shouldn't we get homelessness done and feeding people done and houses built and all that? Do you know what I mean?
I've lived with going back 30 years, so quite aware of both sides. And I keep up with the news, even though I don't like it much.
You and me both. It was lovely talking to you, man.
All right.
Thank you. At this point in the film, I suppose we're meant to wrap things up with a relatively straightforward story about what's going on here. Where maybe some hint of the idea that we're forecasting what can happen in the election. Well, forget that. Can't do it because everything is so complicated. What sits in people's heads when they come to vote is really complicated because society is complicated. All of these buzz phrases and cute terms that rattle around politics, I have done for the last sort of 15 or 20 years, I think most of them are pretty useless and more at the point that they do no justice to how complex human beings are. So forget about Workington Man and Worcester Woman and Mondeo Man. Have you got any?
Left Behind, Brexit Land,
True Blue Suburbia, the Labour Heartlands,
Centrist Dad,
Centrist Dad is another one.
Squeeze Middle,
Squeeze Middle. Forgotten about the Squeeze Middle. Trots, Corbynistas. Should we make up a new one? NK Woman. Right, here we go. This election depends on Space NK Woman.
Jigsaw Jane.
Jigsaw Jane.